You are sitting at a table. The table is black. The room has no windows. You don't know what floor you're on, or what country, or whether it's day or night outside. Around you sit 12 other people. You know their numbers. You do not know their names. They do not know yours. In front of you is a file. The file contains information about something that is currently happening right now as you read this. 13 of the most powerful people in the hidden world are in this room to decide what to do about it. You are one of them. You are 057, and you have no idea how you're going to vote. Before we go further, let's establish what the O5 Council actually is, because most people who know about the SCP Foundation think they understand the Council. They don't. The O5 Council is 13 individuals who hold the highest authority in the SCP Foundation. They make decisions that no other body in the Foundation can override. Their real names are unknown to Foundation staff. Their real names are unknown to each other. Their locations are never disclosed. Their faces are never photographed. Their communications go through encrypted channels that cycle keys every 6 hours. The O5 Council votes on everything that matters. Containment of new Apollyon-class SCPs, responses to existential threats, the authorization of Thaumiel deployment, and the question of which humans get to keep their memories of what the Foundation does. They also vote on something that most Foundation staff don't know exists. The amnestic program at scale. You have level 5 clearance, the highest that exists with a number. What you are about to learn has no clearance level, because the people who know it don't write it down. You didn't apply for this position. 6 weeks ago, you were a senior researcher with level 4 clearance at Site-19. You had been with the Foundation for 11 years. You had survived 3 containment breaches, 2 amnestic exposures, and 1 incident that isn't in your official file. You thought that was enough to last a career. You thought that was what the rest of your Foundation life would look like. Then the letter arrived. It contained 3 things: a set of instructions, a location, and a single sentence that you have read approximately 400 times since. You have been observed for longer than you have worked here. The location was a coordinate set that resolved to a building you had walked past 3 times a week for 4 years without noticing it. The instructions said to arrive alone, tell no one, and bring nothing you couldn't leave behind permanently. You left your phone on your desk. You told your assistant you were going to lunch. You have not returned to Site-19 since. Your first O5 briefing lasted 9 hours. In those 9 hours, you learned things that restructured your understanding of reality. Not because the Foundation had been lying to you at Level 4, but because Level 4 knowledge is accurate. It's just incomplete in ways that Level 4 clearance makes it impossible to perceive. You learned about the broken Masquerade risk, the calculated probability, maintained and updated quarterly, that the general public will become aware of anomalous reality within the next 10 years. The current figure is 34.7%, up from 31.2% 2 years ago. The trend line is consistent. You learned about Protocol Lethe, the Foundation's contingency plan for a partial broken Masquerade event, where anomalous reality becomes known to a significant portion of the public, but full concealment is still theoretically possible. You learned that Protocol Lethe has been partially activated twice. Both times the Foundation managed to re-establish concealment. Both times the cost was significant. The files on what significant means are available at your clearance level, but not recommended for the first week. You learned that 3 currently active SCPs are classified at a level that doesn't have a name, that is known internally only as Above Council, meaning the O5 Council itself does not have full information about them. That particular piece of information kept you awake for the first 3 nights. By the end of your first month, you have access to every SCP file the Foundation has ever created, all 4,847 of them, at last count. You read them in order, then you read the ones that weren't in order, the files that exist outside the numbering system, that have no SCP designation, that are referred to only by internal code names that don't appear in any index. You read the full SCP-001 file, all 17 proposed entries, including the 3 that are available only at O5 clearance. You will not discuss what those 3 entries say, not because you've been told not to, because after reading them, you find that you genuinely cannot figure out how to put it into words. You also have access to the historical records, what the Foundation looked like in 1943, in 1967, in 1991. How many SCPs existed then? How many overseers were lost? What decisions were made that shaped everything that came after? The 1972 incident, the 2008 cascade, the thing that happened in 1983 that is listed only as the restructuring, with no further detail available even at O5 level. You are now, by any measure, one of the most informed human beings alive, and you have never felt less certain about anything. Your first O5 Council vote happens on a Tuesday. The item on the agenda is a containment decision regarding a Class 4 cognitohazard that has spread to approximately 340,000 people across 7 countries. Option A, targeted amnestic deployment, expensive, logistically complex, success probability 67%. Failure would result in the cognitohazard continuing to spread. Option B, full amnestic deployment across the affected regions, effective, certain. It would also erase approximately 3 years of memory from 340,000 people who have done nothing wrong. The Council debates for 2 hours. The arguments on both sides are good. There is no right answer. There is only less wrong. You vote for option A, the targeted approach. The one that might not work, because the other option works by doing something that, in your judgment, cannot be undone. The vote comes back 7-6 in favor of option B. You were on the losing side. This will not be the last time, and you will spend the next 4 days trying to decide whether the majority was right. 3 months into your tenure, you have a disagreement with O5-3. You don't know who O5-3 is. You know their number, their voting pattern over the past several years as recorded in the Council minutes, and their voice. That's enough. O5-3 believes that SCP-179, the humanoid figure near the sun who provides warnings about incoming anomalous threats, should be reclassified from Thaumiel to Cater and removed from active use as an early warning system. Their reasoning: SCP-179 is a person. Using a person as a tool, even with apparent consent, crosses a line that the Foundation should not cross. Your reasoning: SCP-179 has been providing accurate early warnings for decades. Removing this capability without an equivalent replacement is not an ethical choice. It is a luxury the Foundation cannot afford, given current Apollyon trajectory projections. The debate goes on for 3 sessions, 5 hours total. It comes to a vote. O5-3 loses, 8-5. SCP-179 remains classified Thaumiel. O5-3 accepts the result. That is the other thing you learn about this council. Losing a vote means accepting the outcome. There is no appeal. There is no going above the O5 Council. This is the top. 6 months in, you have your first private conversation with O51. O51 is the first among equals, not formally more powerful than the other 12, but the designated chair of council sessions, and the figure whose institutional memory stretches furthest back. You don't know how long O51 has served. The records show they were already O51 when the oldest existing council minutes were written, in 1961. You do the math. You stop doing the math. In this private conversation, O51 tells you 3 things that are not in any file. First, every O5 council member experiences what they call the wait, a period of psychological adjustment to full O5 knowledge that typically lasts between 3 and 8 months. You are currently in month 5. You are doing better than average. Second, the O5 Council has voted to end the world once. The vote was 6-7 against. The margin was 1. Third, O51 does not tell you. They say only that when you are ready, you will find what you need to know in a specific archive location. That you will know when you are ready because you will stop being afraid of it. 9 months in, you find the archive location O51 mentioned. It is a single room. In it are 13 chairs arranged in a circle, and in the center, a single file. The file has no SCP designation. It has no title. On the cover is written one word, in a language that predates the Foundation by several centuries. You sit in one of the 13 chairs, you open the file, you read for a long time. When you leave, you understand something that restructures every other piece of information you have ever received. The Foundation does not contain anomalies because anomalies are dangerous to humanity. That is true, but it is not the reason. The reason is older than the Foundation, older than any living O5 Council member, and it has been the actual reason since before any of the current documentation was written. You now understand what O51 has known for 60 years. You understand why the wait lasts as long as it does. You understand why the chair in that room where you sat is yours. 1 year in, you have not spoken to anyone from your previous life since the day you left Site 19. This is not a rule, it is a practical reality. You cannot maintain the anonymity required for O5 security while also maintaining personal relationships with people who knew you before. Your family has been told you died in a Foundation incident. This is the standard protocol. They received compensation. They held a service. You were not consulted about this. The protocol was executed before you were informed it would happen. You were given one opportunity through an anonymous channel to send a message. You did not have to say who you were. You could not tell them you were alive. You could only say something. You sent it. You don't know if it helped. You never will. This is the part of the job that the files don't describe. The access to everything does not include access to the things that made you a person before you became a number. You have spoken to O51 about this. They said, it doesn't get easier, but it gets further away. Eventually, further away is enough. 14 months in. The Council is called into emergency session. An Apollyon-class SCP has crossed a threshold. The delay protocols are no longer sufficient. The item on the agenda is Protocol Scarlet, the Foundation's option for a controlled CK-class reality restructuring event. In simple terms, the Foundation would use several Thaumiel-class SCPs in combination to rewrite a specific aspect of baseline reality, eliminating the conditions that the Apollyon SCP requires to cross its next threshold. The cost, approximately 340 million people, would have their memories of the past 6 years altered. Not erased, altered. The events would still have happened. The people would remember different versions of them. The alternative, letting the Apollyon threshold cross. The Foundation's own models show a 73% chance of CK-class reality alteration occurring anyway, uncontrolled, with no Foundation management of the outcome. Controlled alteration of 340 million memories, or a 73% chance of uncontrolled reality restructuring affecting everyone. The Council debates for 6 hours. You say nothing for the first 4. In the last 2, you say everything you have. The vote is called 7-6. Protocol. Scarlet is authorized. You voted yes. In the 3 weeks that follow, Protocol Scarlet is executed. You watch the reports come in. You track the reality alteration indices. You read the post-operation assessments. The Apollyon threshold does not cross. The delay protocols are re-established with a projected effective window of 11 years. The Foundation has bought time. 340 million people are living slightly different versions of the last 6 years of their lives. They do not know this. They will never know this. From their perspective, nothing happened. You are the only kind of person who could have authorized that. Someone who has seen the alternative clearly enough to choose this. That is what the O5 Council is. Not the most powerful people in the world, the most burdened. You have been in this chair for 14 months. You will be in it until you are not, until the Foundation decides you are no longer what this position requires, or until what this position requires is no longer something you can be. You open the next file. There is always a next file. The table is black. The room has no windows. You are O57. The O5 Council is the SCP Foundation's answer to an impossible question. Who do you trust with everything? The answer in practice is 13 people with no names, no personal lives, and no appeals process. People who have given up everything that made them individuals in exchange for the ability to do what needs to be done. Whether that exchange is worth it is a question the Foundation doesn't ask, because the Foundation has already decided that it has to be. Next week on Shroudex, explain. We're going somewhere completely different. The topic is still being decided. Subscribe, and you'll be the first to know what it is.